Hello and welcome, my YouTube friends. Welcome to your Angels and Archetypes read, all signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for February 2021. This is actually the second time I'm having to record this. All sorts of Mercury retrograde shenanigans, but I'm glad to do it again because I find these readings missing the tarot. You know, I work tarot every single day. But to do a healing system and an oracle system together, which is the angels and the archetypes, so I'm actually going to be drawing them separately. And of course, I forgot to turn off my phone across the room, so we may be hearing some notifications. I'm over it if you are. So it's the same standard YouTube rules, right? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. We're going to get 12 of these on the table first, face down, the Caroline Myss archetype decks, to look at the soul power that you are dealing with within yourself, within another, within a situation, some of that, all of that for the month of February 2021. And then clarifying with the healing with the Angels Oracle card, Doreen Virtue's deck, one of many, to, you know, what is the angelic help available to you should you need to call upon it, right? The angels will always come, but you have to ask, right? It's like that cosmic law of non-intervention, right? It's sort of like the prime directive, don't interfere, but if you ask, and sometimes that's as simple as a colloquial prayer as help, right? But if you know at least the type of angel, these angels in this deck are not called by name except for the Archangel Michael card. They are named by function, healing with the angels. Shall we? Both feet on the floor if you can. Breathe as I do to stay in the present moment, to take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And by the way, I find it sometimes helpful with all sign reads, if you know your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, to write down the messages, like write down the name of the archetype and the name of the angel, and watch how they interact with each other. It's kind of cool. All right, let's do this. Please take a nice deep breath. Oh, yes, thank you. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters, and the higher selves of all involved, please. We're going to do 12 cards. We're going to pull them one at a time, face down. Aries through Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. What are the dominant archetypes in play for Aries? We'll start there. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. February 2021. Again, this is within yourself, within somebody else, within a story or a situation at play. I'll explain that as I go along, as we turn over each one and add to it that angel card. So please, my collective pantheon, same thing. Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. What's the archetype they're dealing with February 2021? Gemini, please, what's their archetype February 2021? Remember, you are not your archetypes. They are patterns within you, a means of which alchemizing certain soul powers, S-O-U-L, soul powers, from shadow to light, lead to gold, toxic to healthy. You'll see if you're new to the channel once we get these suckers flipped over. Please, for the Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, what's their dominant archetype in play? For the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, dominant archetype. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. These are flying out. Dominant archetype. Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, dominant archetype. They are clicking with me today. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Oh, I was two. Just one, please. Scorpio collective. There you are. Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, dominant archetype for them, February 2021. Capricorn, dominant archetype, February 2021. Did I say Capricorn? Yes, I did. I skipped one. That's okay. Sagittarius. My guides know me. There you go. Malone. The Aquariums, please. The Aqualungs, my Aquarians. Dominant archetype, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. And, of course, Pisces. Dominant archetype, February 2021. Excellent. Our work done there. Keep in mind, these cards are supposed to be triggering. The shadow attribute that it describes is the toxic side, the stuff you don't want to look at within yourself. And even if you have looked at it, you don't want anybody to know about it. It's a hidden agenda in some way, shape, or form. The light attribute that it speaks of is what you are shooting for, what this opportunity to alchemize something led to gold, shadow to light, to heal it, if you will, and develop the soul power within you. I'm going to keep saying it, within you, within somebody else, sometimes coming into relationship or a current relationship where there's a dominant archetype in play. You can at least know what character is running the show in them. So Aries, the seeker archetype, the wisdom family, the shadow attribute, inability to commit to a path once found. And come on, you guys are impulsive AF, right? So it's like, oh, I found it. What else you got? Let's on to the next thing, right? It can be a little bit of fear of commitment there. The light attribute, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. So it's an ongoing seeking, right? It is true, not all who wander are lost, and sometimes we are seeking that which is seeking us, right? So it's a wisdom family archetype. Wisdom comes from experience, not just book knowledge. Anybody can read a book. Anybody can take a workshop. But until you literally take that information down through the chakras and incarnate it through your body into form, it's really not wisdom. And truth is of a maxim at this time on planet Earth, if you haven't noticed, right? There's so much lies, illusions, deceptions, and delusions. So to keep seeking, because sometimes even if you're like, oh, I found what I wanted, it still might take further exploration as a seeker. Different than the explorer archetype, which is creative family. The seeker is the wisdom family. So truth and wisdom. A thirst for it? Yeah, thirst, T-H-I-R-S-T, which is interesting. He's walking through a desert. I guess that does make sense. I guess I should gender the seeker. We can't see what they're wearing. Lovely outfit, though, for desert wear. The angel, then, is ready to flip the next card. By the way, blessed Candlemas, blessed Imbolc, blessed Groundhog's Day. I can't believe I have to do this reading again, but I'm glad to. Actually, I guess it wasn't the right video. I don't know. So please, my angels of fire and the sign of Aries, the Michaelites, please. Who's the angel that they are to call upon? The angel of serenity. Good old serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And honestly, inability to move on, if it really is an inability to commit to a path once found, always moving on. If that is something that is really you are unable to, then there is a piece of serenity there. There is probably a piece of pain, something that's not wanting to be confronted. And remember, this might not be you. It would make sense if somebody is in that shadow, right, that they have found that which they are looking for, but have an inability to commit, then this might very well be the angel that helps you. And this could also be a situation as well. I mean, the serenity angel isn't just about the serenity prayer. It comes from an understanding, the peace that passes understanding, right? Which is more of a spiritual thing, certainly. But the courage, I always go back to the serenity prayer, even though I was never officially in AA. I don't know if be officially in or not, but I certainly, read up on it. I was going through my own addiction issues at one time. Who doesn't, right? So the idea that the courage to change the things I can, the root of the word cur is the French, courage is the word cur, French for the heart. I can change what I am thinking, right? I can make some changes in the interior world, regardless of what's going on around me that I cannot. Right? So in terms of seeking, I would certainly say, even if this isn't you as the seeker archetype, that you keep going deeper, because that is something that you can do. You can quench a hunger or a thirst for wisdom and knowledge. Taurus, the student. Now, what's so funny is these two are so interrelated that people get them confused, right, when they're doing their own archetypal work. The student is very different than the seeker, but they are so similar. Let's say there are fine lines of definition, but those fine lines of definition really make a difference. Both creative family archetypes. Wisdom family, both wisdom family archetypes. The shadow attribute, arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge, unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. Like I said, knowledge knowledge plus action, or knowledge plus experience, equals wisdom. And that is a difference there, right there. This one has an inability to commit. This one is just unwilling. There's a difference between an inability and an unwillingness. Will is choice. So by choice, they know, but they just won't put it into action, right? The light attribute, humility and devotion to knowledge, openness to lifelong learning. So yes, for some, it's what they call forever students or eternal students, right? People who never get out of college. They're always on to the next degree, the next degree, the next degree. They live in academia, and blessed be. I'm sure I did it in another life because I have zero. I could have been a comparative religion professor, scholar, whatever, but boring. No thanks. Would rather be doing this, right? But I certainly can relate. I'm a horrible student, but I can relate. I'm a brilliant teacher. I'm an autodidact. I'm self-taught. But that humility and devotion to knowledge I get. Like, and if that is you, then there is a situation here. Now, if you are, studying from home or going back to school, however that plays itself out in your individual situation as a Taurus, then absolutely, I hope you're studying something of value to you that will give you that, or you can certainly give it the value if it doesn't necessarily offer it up to you. But certainly a lesson in play, both for, well, I would say more of a lesson for the student and more a seeking, right? The seeker and the student really are different, but it's very easy to confuse one for the other. Who is the healing angel? This Taurus dealing with, I'll use that language, thank you, dealing with the student archetype, February 2021, power. So this could absolutely be about lessons of power and lessons of healing your power. That's the thing. We can read all the books in the world on self-empowerment and self-help. You don't know how many conversations where I've had people like, well, have you read The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz? Like, oh yeah, I love it. And yet, right? It's like, you could really take your power back just by, yes, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally, make no assumptions, and do your best. Really, it's a great book. His second book, Mastery of Love, applies that into relationships in a much deeper way. But that's what I mean. It's like, I don't just read something, I'm a witch. I put it into practical application. Why do you do it? Power, right? This is a power lesson here for you. So to call upon the healing angel of power, teach me. May I be the willing student to the healing angels, that I may empower myself and learn how to do that. And really, I love this, with humility and devotion to that process and an openness to this being a lifelong lesson, a lifelong learning. That's beautiful. Work. Next, Gemini. Oh, Gemini, do you just have the prostitute archetype? Well, don't freak out. Everybody does. It's one of the 4 survival family archetypes. Don't believe me? Ask Carolyn Mace. She's tough cookie. I love her, right? Everybody has the victim, the child, the saboteur, and the prostitute archetype. It's how we learn how to survive with these archetypes on planet Earth. The shadow attribute places material consideration and security above self-empowerment. So it doesn't say anything about they're spreading for cash necessarily. You know what I'm saying? That's like a tiny, itty-bitty, teeny tiny part. But how many people stay in toxic relationships for the house? Right? Placing material considerations and security above self-empowerment. The prostitute archetype is the guardian of faith. Faith in the divine plan, faith in your creativity, faith in the path, faith in you name it, that you will negotiate that faith away. The light attribute accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. And that is a tough stance to take, but we all have to do it sooner or later. I mean, I get opportunities to prostitute myself just doing readings on YouTube. I won't say every day, but little emails like, well, if you do this, and pay us this much money, and my solar plexus goes, no. That is my soul saying, Mark, this is your sacred art. You will not prostitute this. And they've even said to me, Mark, your YouTube career is a means to an end. You will always have your channel. You will have other readers on. You will do readings, but you have books to write. And once everybody's vaccinated, I plan on traveling quite a bit, teaching and doing readings face to face. That's what I really want to do, right? So Gemini, Watch what you're prostituting here. What are you staying with? Or, well, and that's the thing with the prostitute archetype. Everybody has it. So it's not just in you or maybe in another or in a situation. It could be any of all of that, but everybody's got it. My angels of air and the sign of Gemini, the Raphaelites, please. This is a lovely view that I'm looking at. Please, what is the healing angel they may call upon to help them heal? The healing angel of healing, the healing angel of healing. So this is really about healing survival issues. Now, the thing about the prostitute archetype that makes it really complex is because for centuries, millennia, right? How in our genetic upline of people who had to sacrifice their dreams to survive, right? It's like I said, codependence really wasn't a thing. It was just dependence. It's like, screw your artistic dreams. We got to get the crop in before winter, right? So, you know, that was just survival stuff. But of course, there are issues of codependence connected to the prostitute archetype, as well as abuse, neglect, and loss. Those are the 4 ego wounds, right? So an overall healing here, I would say, have faith in your healing, but do whatever is necessary. Call upon angel of healing, teach me, heal me, so that I may survive in this world without compromising the truth of who I am, right? The power of my spirit. Yeah, which has a lot to do with being honorable. It is the hero on the hero's journey, right? It is Luke Skywalker. We all get tempted. I mean, really, the prostitute archetype is in every good hero's journey story that we know of. Moving along. Cancer, the healer archetype. Oh, I love me some cancers. I almost said give me some crabs. Cancel, cancel. It's Mercury retrograde. Shadow attribute. Now, if you've never dealt with a toxic wound, well, wounded healer isn't in this deck, but wounded healer is kind of a sub-archetype to this. That's Chiron, the wounded healer. But the shadow archetype of the healers is fucking nasty. I've worked with a lot of them. Taking advantage of those who need help. How much for a Reiki session? Failing to care for oneself, which I think is at the foundation for every healer. Heal thyself, right? Just if we don't do that, we end up martyring and being possessed by our anger and our resentment. It's just horrible. But the light attribute, passion, I love that word, passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, ability to help transform pain into healing. Now, interesting, not pain, I've never read it this way before. You guys are cool. Not pain into pleasure, or pain into relief, pain into healing, which as a Cancerian, you may know if this is you, or maybe you're dealing in a larger situation where healing is necessary, who isn't, right? That sometimes you just got to feel it to heal it. And it is the transformation of the pain into power, really. Pain into healing, to alchemize that lead to gold. As you do that, because of the quantum entanglement of unity, consciousness, fifth dimension, whatever you want to call it, you're healing everybody, not just those you know. Who is the angel? My angels and archangels of water, the Gabrielites, please, for this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Who's the angel they can call upon? The healing angel, February 2021. Just follow the signs. Just call to the angels of signs. Now, I have said to them so many times, give me signs, billboard size, flaming 100-foot tall letters, except if you're right here, you can't see them, right? So you take them where they come. But synchronicity, according to Carl Jung, if I remember this correctly, or maybe it was James Redfield, I could be a mix of both, that synchronicities are always happening. It's just the nature of this universe. It's not that everything's interconnected. It's all one thing. So synchronicity, same time, right? Everything happening in the now, if you really want to Eckhart Tolle yourself there with that power of now stuff. So follow the signs, and however they appear to you. Everybody has a different nervous system. I mean, the same basic layout, but the experiences of what has happened to that nervous system since birth to the present moment, right? So really feel that out. I mean, the intuitive sign, just because you get a sign doesn't always mean you necessarily know what it means. And if you are working on a more mystical, let's say mysterious path in terms of your spirituality, then understand that healing can be very mysterious, that we want to know the reasons why things happened the way they did. And sometimes we don't see that until much later when we see it, regardless of why it happened, it couldn't have happened any other way. In order for us to be who we were born to become in this life, couldn't happen any other way. Thank you, Matt Kahn. Shall we? Our second line. Let's look at the Leo with the mentor archetype. Aw, isn't that nice? The Leos are taking people under their wings, or maybe they are being taken under somebody else's. The shadow attribute, inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master. You have no idea how many times, not tons and tons, but 3 or 4 times where I was mentored by somebody that is exactly what went down, which is also why I don't really mentor people. I'm a teacher, not a mentor. Also the wisdom family, right? Oh, by the way, the healer archetype is the healing family of archetypes. I didn't say that. If you don't know the families, it's okay. Imparting false instructions. That's a nightmare. The light attribute. Passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. I will say, every now and again, the gods, the angels will sneak somebody under my wing when I least expect it. It's usually a face-to-face thing, but also who's been face-to-face all that much? I haven't. But certainly as a spiritual counselor, that's a different vibe. That would be part of. This is really about wisdom. This could easily be with a friend or a family member. It feels lovely. That shadow part of it, though, until after, like the first 2 afterwards, the 3rd time I knew it was going on, and I just walked. Which is also why I'm a little I'd rather be teacher-student. Breathe. My angels of fire. And the sign of Leo, please, the Michaelites. What is the healing angel for the Leo collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign with that mentor archetype? Lovely. Playfulness. Keep it light. Keep it sunny. Keep it funny. Keep it gay, right? That to be playful about this, that, yes, mentorship is work and passing on wisdom is work. And yet, there's something about the game of life. I don't mean the Parker Brothers version, although maybe that too, right? Lawrence Scovel-Shinn, The Game of Life and How to Play It, now in a collection called The Collective Wisdom of Florence Scovel-Shinn. I think that goes back to like the 20s, maybe the 1920s. Oh God, it's 100 years ago-ish. That this is a game, that we are souls that come in, that are chosen. It's not that we chose to be who we are. We were chosen for a mission, right? It's just like, and we were willing. We're like, all right, shifting of planet Earth, Armageddon, Schmarmageddon, what do you got? And they're like, here, Mark Angelo Lyons. I took a brief look at the script and some of the mapping, and I went, all right, dark chocolate with sea salt, I'm down for that. What's this thing called internet, right? Although we know all that stuff when we're up there. So play the game and play it well and play it wisely, and you might find yourself both mentoring as well as being mentored as it goes. That's a general read for you. You ready, my Virgs? Virgo power. It's good to be the king. Woof. Shadow attribute, excessive feelings of entirely familiar I must be imagining things. The light attribute, enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge. Now look, very easy, because Virgo, sun, moon, rising, Venus, whoever, Uranus, if you want to go there, we serve. To rule is to serve. That is ultimately what the king is about, right? The cardinal signs of the zodiac, the kings of the minor arcana, right? That they are there in service. But certainly that shadow side, excessive entitlement, what was the other part? Equally, rulership without restraint. Now look, I have the king archetype, but I have it secondary to my teacher. So when I teach, I am the king of my classroom, and it's the god Zeus. Thank you very much. Zeus throws lightning. He's not for everybody, apparently. And that's in a teaching situation, which is why I also teach. While I do this, I can't not teach. If I had to work at McDonald's within a month, I'd be an instructor there, teaching them how to make the best magical fries ever. So, you know, this is very Virgo-oriented in its light. But in its shadow, watch out for entitlement. It is one of the 7 deadly sins. It's the deadly sin of the solar plexus, personal power and survival intuition. My angels of earth, please. My Arielites, my Urielites, my Aureolites, my angels and my archangels of Virgo, please. Being a Virgo with that king archetype, because I know when a king archetype steps into my energy field, thank you. Wow, I'll take that as an absolute warning bell for anyone, right? It's like, I am the king of my castle. Particularly, I'm the president of my own company, right? I don't work well for others. I work amazingly well with others, right? So please, what is the angel that we may call upon to deal with that in some way, shape, or form? Surrender and release. Now, in a general reading with only 2 cards per sign, you could drive yourself nuts with that, Virgo. Lord knows I probably will. But looking at what is it that would possibly we would need to surrender and release? Because that's not always a passive process. Surrender and release, I do it every morning. I say the same thing. I essentially invoke the universe and my pantheons of the divine to work through me, to do it on my behalf, but through me. It's not, oh, please get all the videos done on my behalf, and then what, watch TV while they're doing it? No. It's that the inspiration, the motivation, right? The chariot, the light and dark horse, pull me forward, speak the words through me. May every action, every outcome be in alignment with my soul's high wisdom and reality of the golden timeline. That's just what I say, right? So to surrender. Now, to surrender to a king, but think about it. If it's a king, enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in their charge, maybe there's a surrender. But remember, in surrender, that it's not about giving up white flag. It's about, at best, giving up. You show me. It doesn't mean I am going to be indolent and passive. Those are the words, right? Sure, rest, relax, surrender. I let go and let God. I let go and let Goddess receive all energies that I have created. I release them to the will of the greater power of love, accepting that everything is becoming fully balanced in its own time and place. And I accept that there is a greater reality, a higher reality, a greater benefit to this in play right here and now, whether I see it or not. And it's lovely to commit to memory. But is it good to be the king? Is it good to be the king, and are you dealing with a shadow king? That was just funny. That's an X-Men villain. If you watched Legion, he's so cute. The guy was Dan Savage. I'm bad at names. Moving along, my Libra. Oh my God. This is what I call tarot short out. The king and the queen right next to each other. So look, I am Virgo, but I have Venus in Libra. The queen. Off with the heads. You just love the queen from Bridgerton. She's fabulous. The shadow attribute becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, though it happens rarely. Controlling and demanding. You're so demanding. Thank you, Chrissy Hines. Apparently I am. The light attribute radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others, right? So you do get the light and the shadow there, very much in the yang, the masculine, because this is masculine family and this is feminine family. So look, if you have those kind of placements, or if you're dealing with a Virgo or a Libra in some way like that, I would like, that's the emperor and the empress right next to each other in a way, right? But I have had queen archetypes. My mother is a born queen archetype. In other words, she just went from birthright to queen. She didn't even pass through princess, right? That's why I call her Hera. And it can be very political and very much the Libra if she's dealing with what? That balance and that fairness. Now, again, this can be you. This could be somebody else, a situation that really calls for that in some way, shape, or form. So to radiate the regal feminine, I mean, really, the shadow side of the queen, we call the bitch. I mean, we just do. And I don't like that. You know, that's not the word. I mean, I use the word. Ain't it a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? I have other words that I can call upon if I really want to go there. Because you don't say that with a man, right? It's like, oh, he's just assertive, right? Despotism, right? Excessive feelings of entitlement. Whew, I'm on fire for this one. Please, my angels of air and the sign of Libra, my Raphaelites, please clarify what is the healing angel they may call upon here to help them alchemize this, particularly if they're dealing with a queen archetype. Because a queen archetype in their shadow, oh, can be, I've worked for so many of them. Never again. Blessings, the healing angel of blessings, which means that this is probably leaning on the side of the light, but certainly I will give you a little tip. You can't come for a queen directly. I'm sorry, that was Thorpe worthy, right? You're gonna come for a queen, you're gonna come for me, you better sharpen your claws, don't you? Sorry, I had a Bob the Drag Queen moment. Bless them from a distance, right? Understand that look, no one's at their best when they're tired and overworked, right? And stressed and empathic, if that's going on, feeling other people's stuff. So when the nervous system becomes inflamed, the ego takes over, right? So bless them. They know not what they do. And even if this is yourself, really do what you can. Do not take action. Don't speak a word, Libra, if you are feeling that arrogant when your authority is challenged, because arrogance is not confidence. It is a workaround. Oh, the word just flew out of my head. It's a substitution. It's a placebo. It doesn't really work. That arrogance, particularly with controlling and demanding, where rather to radiate the regal feminine, bless all you see, and you can do it silently. I find it a little odd to walk up to total strangers and say, bless you. No. You can do that silently. You don't even have to leave your house for that. In fact, sit upon your queenly throne. And queen to queen, if necessary. But if this is you as well, really be a cultivator. Matt Kahn says we'd all be happier if we did what we came in to do in this life, which is essentially to bless the crap out of everything. And he's right. And I forget to do it, considering what I do for a living, right? Have at it. My Libras and I will have a field day with that now. Scorpio, you athlete archetype. Woof. But the shadow here, misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends. Like if you're double jointed, I don't know. False sense of invulnerability and entitlement. So look, that entitlement thing from the king as well. But this is the action family. Oh, sorry, creative family of archetype, because the athlete is always creating. They're always like either building their body or creating their new record of the next thing that they're going to do. The light attribute, dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps. I always felt that Christopher Reeve really became Superman after the polo accident when he was paralyzed. I mean, I love him still. He always will. He's my original Superman. I wouldn't kick Brendan Routh out of the fortress either. Development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. I love athletes, right, but I do it as an artist. It's just I'm a dance every day. Have to. It's my means of expression. But there is that creative part of it, right? Of that you may have internally or externally. So, you know, keep an eye on that false sense of invulnerability, because I know some of you Scorpios think that because you've been through so much that you're bulletproof. And sorry, this time, baby, I'll be bulletproof. So watch out for that sense of entitlement, which is a deadly sin, as I said before, for in the Virgo read. Be careful with that. Okay, who is the angel? Breathe. My angels of water. And the sign of Scorpio, the Gabrielites, please. One card in clarity. What is the healing angel? Who is the healing angel? The healing that they may call upon from the angelic realm, spiritual growth. So think about that. The athletic, creative archetype of your spiritual growth. That's deep. That's very Scorpio. And just to give you what you're shooting for here, dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps. Well, what would that look like in terms of spiritual growth? I have to say, the loss of Helen Keller's sight, hearing, and ability to speak certainly evolved her soul, right? But you got to see that as an athletic accomplishment, which she had to go through. You know the story of the miracle worker, Helen Keller. So I'm not saying it's that. I always use her as an example because then I say, now imagine what you could do, that you can see, that you can hear, and that you can speak, right? But, you know, there's a highly individualized curriculum, says the Course in Miracles, for every child of God incarnate, right? Every soul has their own. That's why you cannot compare lives, but you can certainly see archetypal themes. Work, Sagittarius. I hope you know how to drive because you're a virgin. You're a virgin that can't drive. Oh, it's harsh. The virgin archetype, though, again, like the prostitute archetype, really isn't that much about sexuality unless it is the shadow attribute, fear of intimate union. And by the way, I know lots of people with fear of intimate union are the biggest sluts on planet Earth, right? Because it's not really intimate. It's physical union, but it's wham, bam, thank you, sir. What do you want, gay? Right? So that shadow attribute. Now, I have a touch of the virgin archetype, but I call it the purist. Well, here, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. And I am like that. It's like I said about the prostitute archetype. It's like, this is my sacred art. Yes, I'm monetizing it, but I'm not going to have anybody put bots on my channel or however that works. I'm too old for bots. Unless we're talking Battle of the Seasons, and I don't think World of Wonder is doing that anymore, if that was them. So for me, it shows up in my life with karaoke, with people singing off key. Oh, just shoot me. Bad choreography or good choreography done badly. Very much the artistic thing. I'm a little snobby when it comes to that stuff, but because I put in thousands of years of training and all of that stuff. So for the Sagittarian here, really look at what is your fear of intimate union. But again, this could be someone you are dealing with, right? But it need not necessarily mean that they are literal virgin. So maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit, I would say that that's a go-to for you, right? Ninth house, expansion, Jupiter, spirituality, right? The hero on the spiritual journey of the hero's journey, if you want to phrase it that way, that purity of heart, right? That virgin. And by the way, virgins are the only ones that can tame unicorns. People don't know that. I'm like, how do you not know that? How do you not know that? Where are you going to find one, right? Well, maybe this is you. Let's see, what do the angels have to say about that? Because fear of intimate union, I mean, is that fear of intimate union with the divine as well, which I crave. I love. That's why I could have been a monk. Except if they didn't have Wi-Fi. I don't know that I could have done that. Not that I would have known what it was if I was that cloistered. Breathe. My angels of fire and the sign of Sagittarius, the Michaelites, please. What is the healing angel they can call upon to help them deal with this virgin archetype, one way, shape, or form in their life, February 2021? Divine guidance. I'm really going to say, lean towards the light. Carol Ann, go into the light. The light attribute, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit, saying that, no, I am getting guidance. I am being guided. Everybody is. And what's the difference, do you think, between divine guidance and your gut telling you something? I don't think there is. I don't think there is a difference. I think it's all one interconnected chakra energy field of grace, right? Sometimes that, Carolyn Mace even says it. She goes, sometimes that little voice, your conscience, that's saying, oh, don't say it. Yet you feel it. It's okay that you're feeling it. This is situationally appropriate, but it's not situationally appropriate to actually say that to that person. You will wound them. And it's like, and you don't, right? Like, that's the kind of guidance, like we're expecting, I don't know, epiphanies over coffee every day. And it just doesn't work that way. Having mystical experiences, by the way, are no proof of where you are on the spiritual path, by the way. People think you have to be a grand high avatar to have a mystical experience. Nor does it prove that you are a high avatar because you had mystical experiences or every day over coffee, right? So to keep that virginity in you, or really see that within somebody else, but there's something divinely guided here. And so, of course, they're not going to show me what that is in a general read, but I would say, inquire within. Capricorns, the one that we pulled before figures, the Fool archetype. Now, a little bit different than the Fool in the tarot. In fact, a lot a bit different. Oh, by the way, the Virgin is the feminine family of archetypes. Sorry, I forgot to do that. The Fool is the masculine family of archetypes, believe it or not. I know it seems a little odd, but here we go. The shadow attribute, using humor to wound rather than liberate. Been there, done that, in my DNA. Apparently, denial of your emotional truth, and everybody goes through that, reasons or seasons, hopefully not lifetimes. The light attribute, though, fearlessly revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity or hypocrisy, which you might notice on my channel slips out of me every now and again. The god Hermes would govern this for me. And in that case, there is that divine Fool. It's called the Holy Fool, right? That leap of faith to expose how you feel in any given moment. Now, in the light, it's fearlessly revealing emotion, but also helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. And honestly, the Fool has always been the one that could speak truth to the king without getting their head cut off. And by the way, now I've got the Fool, the king, and the queen. If this is the knight or the prince, I think those are the only two royals left in the deck, but we'll see. We'll get there. Angels. Angels, my angels and archangels of earth, the sign of Capricorn, please, my Oriolites, my Arielites, my Urielites, Oriel, Ariel, Uriel, right? One card in clarity. What's the healing angel for my Capricorns? Emerging. Now, look, if this is not you, then keep your eye out for someone either like really hoarding their emotions, like denying them. What is the word they use? Yeah, denial of emotional truth. Or by all means, look within you and ask yourself, am I really so afraid of feeling this? I have learned over the past few years that if you're feeling it, it's usually safe in that moment to feel it, but that doesn't mean you're not going to have to watch your edges. Watch your boundaries. Watch what you say. Watch what you do as you breathe and it processes through you. Then again, I live alone, so it's always, I'm distracted only. But with this internet stuff that's been going on, I don't know, it's because it's the snowstorm, the upload times, processing times ridiculously long, 24 hours. It's a bit long, right? Really pissing me off. But because I let myself feel that, right? I laughed at the hypocrisy of here I am trying to like do my sacred work and make a living. And, I actually had a lovely day. I did laundry. I did other things. That was really quite a relief. So with something, what would the healing angel of emerging do, right? It would really help these emotions emerge, either with you, with someone, or a situation, which I have to say, just even watching the news sometimes nowadays, depending on who's around you, if you're an empath and all that, just like one thing can just like bring it all up, particularly if you're an empath. Like I said, your triggers are your friends. I wish people understood that, but you take what you're ready to hear when you're ready to hear it. Aquariums, the alchemist, one of my favorite archetypes. That's why I even talk of archetypes in terms of alchemy, right? Lead and gold. The shadow attribute, misuse of the power and knowledge that comes through spiritual practice. which can sometimes even be thinking you know better than somebody else. You don't know them. You don't know what their path is. You don't know what their contracts are. But that the spiritual ego is what we're looking at there. The light attribute, transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. So what is a base motivation or goal? I mean, base doesn't necessarily mean toxic. What are your base motivations? Eat, sleep, breathe, right? Food, clothing, shelter are that's at base, right? Into golden wisdom. And the insanity that seems to and seeing the base perhaps to win at all cost as an opportunity for transformation into golden wisdom, because wisdom comes through experience. I'm sorry, you can read every book, you can go to every workshop, but if you don't incarnate, if you don't put it into action, it's not really wisdom. Knowledge plus experience equals wisdom is how I learned it. Learned it. My angels of air and the sign of Aquarius, please. The Raphaelites, who is the angel the aquariums may call upon? Miracles, though. To take something real base, even if it's food, clothing, shelter is the most foundational things, and from it to call upon the healing angel of miracles for a miracle to take place. We're talking about high-level alchemy. One would think if the healing angels of miracles involved, because miracles in colloquial, what we usually think of as a miracle is something that occurs usually at the hand of the divine, though not always. Like a miracle drug or a miracle cure, that's usually not, you know what I mean? But the traditional meaning of miracle is something takes place that breaks natural or cosmic laws. I mean, there's no way that could happen, you know. Raining frogs and, you know, all of that. It's a sign of the apocalypse. I wouldn't necessarily think that is a miracle, more as a detriment, an amphibian detriment to traffic, at least. Haven't we had enough? Do we really need reptiles raining from the sky? But I have to say, the alchemist with miracles, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And it does make sense for you to take the knowledge, I would say, that you have learned from your spiritual path and practice that knowledge and really bring it into wisdom somehow. Lovely. Pisces. Because we're all rebels and we'll never be any good. It's really good at what we do because we're rebels. More. Billy Idol. The shadow attribute rejects legitimate authority out of anger. Never. Rebels out of peer pressure or fashion, which is kind of fun. I always relate this to after punk came new wave. It was like punk watered down. It was like mall punk rock, right? It doesn't mean I didn't love it. I mean, the Go-Go's started punk. They didn't end punk, though. But that rebellion, right? You know, the rebel, the revolutionary archetype is part of the sacred contract of America. Carolyn May's got a book on that, too. The rebel archetype in its light, though, challenges authority to affect social change, great big huge on planet Earth right now, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. Hello, I've got that and a side of fish fries if you want a little Arthur treat, fish and chips. I miss it. Fried food. Remember fried food? Here we go with this very, very powerful action family archetype. By the way, I forgot to say, aquariums, that the alchemist is both divine and wisdom family. I keep forgetting to do that. But the rebel is definitely the action family here. So whether you are dealing with the rebel archetype, the whole world seems to be in rebellion right now in one way, shape, or form. Or maybe this is within you, to really keep an eye on rejecting legitimate authority out of anger. Because, you know, when you're doing something from a place of anger that's not tempered and balanced, the repercussions are dire. Always, 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 always. Wrath is one of the 7 deadly sins. It's a deadly sin of the heart chakra, according to Carolyn Myss. So you can still challenge authority to affect social change and reject spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs, because as those inner needs are served, particularly for a Pisces, one of the more mystical signs of the zodiac, I'm a Pisces moon, then I know that I can rebel. Like my guides and my gods and my angels are like, go ahead, curse your brains out. I mean, in terms of my language, not like, although one of them said to me at the end of the day, blessings or curses, it's all the same to the gods and the archangels. I was like, whoa, that's unity consciousness, but I'm not going there, right? Kind of takes the wind out of your sails as a rebel. So please, my angels and archangels of water, the sign of Pisces, my beloveds, what is my Gabrielites? Oh, no. You go around again if you want that one to come out. What is the healing angel, the Piscean collective sun, moon, rising, Venus signs may call upon February 2021? Last card down. Freedom. It ain't a state like Maine or Virginia. It's not a place you float to find. I just quoted the musical Shenandoah. Maybe these computer delays are for everyone's benefit. The rebel archetype, fight for your freedom or fight for your right to party. But this is definitely a healing angel that I absolutely love, though can be terrifying. Because sometimes we are comfortable in our chains, right? We become comfortable with them, particularly if you've been confined to your house voluntarily or otherwise, right? On lockdown, whatever you want to call it. But Pisces, call upon this healing angel to free your mind, and the rest will follow. Boy, does that song have more relevance now than it did in the 90s. I miss En Vogue. I wish they would come back. Bop. No, this actually feels rather fun, I have to say. The rebel archetype, when it is in alignment, it's a fierce force to contend with. And Pisces, again, depending on placement, we tend to be a little bit more reserved about those things. We're definitely looking, the rebel archetype really envisioned, I see, as what's called the second wave, the divine masculine predominance, right? The social justicers. I used to be that way when I was younger, but now I'm like divine feminine, sacred empath, right? Healing the energies of the planet by feeling it all myself. So you might be in relationship in some way, shape, or form with somebody who is a rebel and a revolutionary. And for that healing angel of freedom to like help you and maybe even help them find the freedom without the anger and the violence and the wrath. So there you have it, my YouTube friends. I really hope this video goes out sooner rather than later. We shall see. It's really my honor and my pleasure doing this. And look, if something resonated to you, please hit the thumbs up. You want more, subscribe. I don't care anymore about my numbers, but if you want more, please subscribe. And please feel free to comment, as it is such my honor and my privilege, again, to do this reading, and worth it. And I will do it a third if this one doesn't work, because that's just how I roll. Otherwise, wishing you all the very best and the very blessed of this February 2021, my YouTube friends. Hail. Farewell. Blessed, blessed be.